Good morning, everyone. Let's start now to find out how to use our left hand. This is our left hand to evaluate some or common trigonometric ratios. Like what common? Like 0, 90, 180, 270, and so on, like the multiples of those. Add to this 30, 45, 60, and so on. Okay? We said, if you still remember, we said at the beginning here, in another video, we said here that we have the axis x for sine and y for cosine. X for cosine, sorry, and y for sine. So here this is x, as you can see, x here equals cosine theta, and y here equals sine theta. Maybe the question will ask you to find out what is the coordinate. Okay, find here the coordinate, for example. Okay, for example, angle 30 or whatever, or he can ask you to evaluate what is sine, what is cosine. Okay, evaluate what is sine, what is cosine, for example. Okay, and sine theta, for example, and cosine theta, if theta, for example, equals 30, for example, and so on. We are going to have a lot of examples on this. And also here, for example, also if I give you, for example, as another circle, and I give you r equals a specific value here. So how we are going to find it? Simply, we are going to use the equation that says x here for what? R cosine theta, as we proved this before, or r sine theta. If we are here in the unit circle, what's the meaning of unit circle? Unit circle, that means r here equals 1. So that means r equals 1. Based on this, the coordinate will be, r, which is here 1. So it's going to be cosine theta and sine theta. So pay attention. If the question give you the measurement of the radius, so take it into your consideration. If he didn't give you any information, so you are going to consider it as a unit circle. That means r here equals 1. Then theta will be, or x, sorry, will be cosine theta, and y will be sine theta. Let's start here. This is like the leader for the whole quadrants. Let's start, for example, with 30. This is your left hand, okay? This is your left hand. And as we said before, this is here 0, and this is 90, right? This is 90 degrees. Here, this is 180 degrees. And here I have 270. And we will come back here to be 2 pi or 360. I think the color is not that clear, but I hope you can see it properly. Okay, now we are going to write the same thing, but using the radian mode. So 0, it's exactly the same, or even 2 pi. Okay, up here we have pi over 2, which is exactly like 90. Here I have pi, and here I have 3 pi over 2. This is another way to write the same thing. Then we came back to 2 pi, rotate again and again. We will repeat the same values. Okay, let's see here. What do I have? At the beginning here, this is 30, the first one. Sorry, there is a mistake here. Sorry. At the beginning here, I have 0. This one's supposed to be down, so you can just make it like this. This is 0. After this, I have 30 degrees. After this, I have 45 degrees. Okay. After 45, I have 60 degrees. And finally, here I have 90 degrees. Clear? So 30 degrees here. Sorry, this is the first one is 0. I'm so sorry. Here I just wrote it by mistake. So the first one here is 0. So what is sine? What is cosine? Sine. Sine theta equals radical number of fingers down, okay, down over 2, okay? And cosine theta equals number of fingers up over 2. And tan theta here equals number of fingers, because this is sine first, so number of fingers down over number of fingers up. Okay, this is the rule. So for example, if I ask you what's the corresponding here, what's the corresponding unit here? This is 0, right? So this is here 1, because the cosine 90 is what number of fingers up? How many fingers up? Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. So radical 4 over 2, it's going to be 1. Then if I ask you about sine, the number of fingers down here, no fingers down, so that means it's going to be 0. Let's move on to 30, for example. 30 here, what do I have? 30 here, I have, yes, sine and, cosine and sine, okay? So cosine 30, number of fingers up. So count with me, this is 30, count, 1, 2, 3. So here it's radical 3 over 2. And sine, how many fingers down under this one? 1, excellent. So it's going to be radical 1, which is 1 over 2. Pay attention here, both are positive because sine here we have the right side. For cosine we have the right side, and for sine we have the upper part. Continue for 45. This is 45. Stop here. I'm going to erase it in case you are going to get confused. Yes. So here, focus. What do I have here at 45? How many fingers down? 1, 2. This is for sine. How many fingers up for cosine? 1, 2. So for cosine, it's radical 2 over 2. For sine, it's radical 2 over 2. Clear? For 60 here, what do I have here? For cosine, how many fingers up? So as you can see, it's going to be 1 over 2. For sine, how many fingers down? So radical 3 over 2. This is my final answer. Then finally here at 90. 90 here is what? Yes, exact. First of all, cosine 90. Cosine 90. Do I have here any fingers up? No. And here sine 90, right? So what is cosine 90? It's 0 because no fingers up. But sine 90, how many fingers down? 1, 2, 3, 4. So here I have 1. Excellent. Now I finished from this side. If I ask you, for example, you are going to apply the same thing, but with different signs. What does that mean? Let's say that I ask you, for example, here, let's add here extra sheet. Okay, let's ask you, for example, to evaluate, let's say here, sine and cosine of, let's say, 2 pi over 3. 2 pi over 3. First of all, you need to know in which quadrant you are. So 2 pi over 3, that means you are going to convert it from from radian to degrees. So 2 simply change pi to be 180 degrees divided by 3. So here divided by 3, it's going to be 6. So this one will be 120. In which quadrant we are? As you can see, in which quadrant? Amazing, excellent. So the angle is supposed to be in standard position, vertex at the origin. Initial side on the positive x-axis. Where is the angle here? It's 120. Can I evaluate for this one? No, we can't. So I'm going to evaluate here for something we call it reference angle. As you can see, reference angle, we are going to measure it with the closest x-axis. So if the closest one is a positive, you will take the positive one. If the closest one is negative x-axis, so we are going to create the triangle with it. You can use either the triangle to find out the rule, or we can use the previous way here, or the trick way that we explained together using our fingers. Okay, first of all, I need to know what's the measurement of this angle. The whole thing here is 180. So how can I get this back? Is 180 excellent minus 120, which is this. So what's the measurement of the angle here? It's 60 degrees. So what's the measurement here of the angle? Is 60 degrees. So we are going to find the 60 here, but 60 in the second quadrant. Excellent. 60 in the second. So we are going to write here sine 120, or even the given angle sine 2 pi over 3, which is exactly like 120 equals Sine, if you will come back here to fingers, we said here sine for 60, right? So come back here, where is 60 here? This is my finger, right? This is cosine 60, number of fingers up, one finger, divided by 2. And sine radical 3 over 2. So we'll come back to our yes. So for sine, we said number of fingers down. What's the meaning of number of fingers down for 60? Here, how many fingers do I have? For 60, count here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here, this is 60, right? Number of fingers down here, I have a radical 3 over 2, right? Cosine here, 120, or cosine 2 pi over 3 equals how many fingers up? Only one, so it's 1 over 2. Pay attention. Again, x for cosine, right? But here, x cosine here, x is positive. Here, x is what? Negative x. So we are going to add here x about only that we are going to add negative for cosine. As you can see here, still we are using the upper part of sine, so that means this is the upper part of sine. Also here, in case he asks you what is the corresponding coordinate here, or what's the ordered pair here, so we are going to say simply the first point here is what? Cosine 120, and here sine 120, which is exactly like what? Negative half and positive radical 3 over 2. Hopefully it's clear for now. Okay, let's solve one more question. Let's say here that I want to evaluate, for example, I want to evaluate here sine and cosine for negative 4 over 3, or let's say, yes, sine and cosine. Okay, sine and cosine of negative 4 by over 3. Or also I want actually to find tangent. Okay, I want to, okay. First step, as we said before, we are going to draw our axis. We want to know in which quadrant we are. So this is the first position, the first, sorry, step to solve any question. So this is negative 4 pi over 3. So I'm going to just convert it. So simply we are going to change pi to be 180 xn divided by 3. So here divided by 3, divided by 3. So this one will be 60, am I right? So here 4 times 60, 240. So negative. How can I graph this one? Again, vertex at the origin, initial side on the positive x-axis. Are we going to rotate up or down? Down, x-on, because it's negative. So till this point, it's 180. Then we will go up a little bit. Here I have 240. Sorry, negative 240. I just forgot the sign. Okay, now can I evaluate for this one directly? No, we need to find something we call it reference angle. So how can I get the reference angle? How can I get the reference angle x on? The whole thing here, the black one is 240. I want only the purple one. So we are going to say 240 minus 180 equals what? 0, and here this is 14, so it's going to be 60. So it's going to be 6. Are we going to consider it as positive? Yes, positive, because reference angle always positive, and acute and measure with the x-axis. So here, this is my reference angle. You can use either fingers way, or you can use your triangle. Normally, consider or take into your consideration that the hypotenuse here is 1. Okay. This is the reference angle. So what is the sine and cosine for that one? The same thing, honestly. Here's sine negative 240, or you can just write it as this, sine negative 4 pi over 3, which is here again equals negative half, if you use your fingers well. And cosine negative 240 equals cosine negative 4 pi over 3 equals here radical 3 over sorry, I switch here, right? This is sine. So sine here. So here this is 60, right? So sine number of fingers down. So sorry, here I just switch. Okay, here I just switch. So here it's going to be radical 3 over 2, which is here sine positive. Sine is positive. And my okay, I just switch here. And this is radical 1, which is here 1 over 2. We are going to add here negative sign because this is negative part. Oh, I mean the cosine here is negative. Okay? Finally here, we are going to find tan. So what is tan? Tan simply, it's the quotient of when we divide what? Negative 2 for 0 equals here sine over cosine. That's why actually I wrote it here. Negative 2 for 0 over cosine, negative 2 for 0. Okay, so what is sine? It's radical 3 over 2 over here half, but with negative sign. Keep, change, flip as we've learned together. So it's going to be radical 3 over 2 times negative 2 over 1. So you can see here 2 with 2 will go, okay? So 2 and 2 gone, so still for us negative radical 3. This is my final answer. Excellent. Okay, let's say here that I have this question. For example, he asks you find secant, cosecant for 225. 225 degrees. So he asks you here to evaluate sine, cosine, sine this angle. Okay, so consider this is our theta, sine 225, sine, for example, cosine 225, okay, tan 225, and cotan 225. After this, find cosecant, which is reciprocal to 5. Secant also find for 2 to 5. And here, cotangent already there. Okay, it's fine. I think now we've done with the question itself. First step, as we've learned together, I'm gonna graph this angle. Good. Now he give it to me ready, and I've known in which quadrant we are. We've known how to graph any angle in the standard position. So first step here, we are going to graph our angle. Vertex at the origin, initial side on the positive x-axis. Rotate with me here till this point. It's 180. Move a little bit. It's gonna be here 225. Can I evaluate for 225? No, we are going to find something. We call it excellent. We call it reference angle. How can I get this reference angle? So we are going to write here reference angle. How can I get this reference angle? Excellent. If we know the blue one, the whole blue one is 225. So the only green part will be 225 minus 180. No need to memorize, only try to understand. So it's going to be what? If you just subtract, it's going to be here 4, and this one will be 12, so it's going to be 45 degrees. So the reference angle is 45 degrees, which is exactly like 45 in the first quadrant, but pay attention, that's here what and what negative. Cosine is negative because this is the left part, and sine also is negative because this is the lower part. So reference angle here is 45. Excellent. Then you have two options, either to use your triangle. So this one will be 1, and this one will be radical 2 over 2, and that one also will be radical 2 over 2 using Pythagorean theorem. Normally, how did we know this is 1? Because it's the hypotenuse, and always we are going to consider it as 1. Excellent. Okay, but see here, I want to find now for sine and cosine. So let's say here that the point here, cosine 225 equals cosine, sorry, I don't need to rewrite it again. Cosine 225 equals what? What is here? See here our fingers. Where is 45 here? This is 45, right? So how many fingers up? Radical 2. So it's radical 2 over 2. Because this is the left part, so I'm going to add here negative sign. Sine 2 to 5 equals how many fingers down? Radical 2 over 2. Pay attention here. Also, I have negative sign. Like 10, 2 to 5. Both are negatives. That means they will cancel each other. So radical 2 over radical 2 over radical 2 over radical 2, which is here exactly like positive 1. If I ask you here to find out what is the reciprocal, so cosine start with C, this one start with S, secant 2 to 5, so it's going to be here negative radical, sorry, negative 2, I mean negative 2 over radical 2. So if you rationalize here, it's going to be negative radical 2. Cosecant 2 to 5 equals the same thing if you just flip it. So it's going to be negative radical 2. And cotangent 2 to 5 equals also 1. I hope it's clear till this moment. Okay, last question, in case I ask you or the question asks you this question. For example, he said using two-way radio, Melissa can talk to anyone within 8-mile radius of her location. So he said what? 8-mile location, so 8-mile radius of her location. As you can see, sorry, I hope this one is clear. Okay, he said what? It's 8 miles. And it was smaller. Okay. So he said she can talk, this Melissa or this girl, she can talk to anyone within an 8-mile radius. So within an 8-mile radius of her location. Okay. Then Oscar is 30 west south to Melissa's location. What is Oscar exact location? Exact location. So that means, sorry, I just want to rewrite it, location. So basically here, I'm asking you about what? I'm asking you about the coordinate. Okay, coordinate. So what does that mean also? That means I'm asking you about X and Y, or simply here, because I don't have X and Y, so we are going to use here cosine and sine theta. Pay attention that he gave us radius here. So we are going to add R. Why? Because R here is not 1 as well. Clear? Okay. They said Oscar is 30 west of south. Okay. This is west. And this is here south, right? So west of south, that means it's this one. This is here 30. Okay. I want now to find out what is the reference angle. As usual, nothing will change. Okay, so what shall I do? First of all, my vertex at the origin, initial side on the positive x-axis, right? I want to know what's the measurement of this angle. If we know till this point that this is 270, right? And I will take from that 30, so it's gonna be what? If you take it here, 270 minus 30 equals 240. And we found that together before. This is 240. Now, what is the reference angle? It's going to be 60. So the reference angle here is what? 60, right? And we've known what is reference angle for 60. We've memorized it already. So I'm going to write here, what is the exact coordinate? So we are going to write here R. What's the measurement of R? Excellent, 8. So R cosine 240. Am I right? Yes, excellent. And R sine 240. Pay attention that in this quadrant, positive, or there is something negative. Excellent, both are negatives, yes. Because Y here is, sorry, X is negative and Y here also is negative. So R, what is R? It's 8. Cosine 240, it's like cosine 60. Using your fingers again, sorry for my horrible graphic. Okay, this is 60. We set for cosine number of fingers up. So it's 1 over 2. Don't forget that we are going to add here half. And here this R, again, it's 8. times sine 240. So here I have negative radical 3 over, finalize the answer, half times negative, sorry, 8 times negative half, which is here negative 4. 8 times half, so here it's going to be negative 4 radical 3, which is basically, you can find it using Pythagorean theorem. Okay, I hope it's clear till this moment. Now we solved, or I think we covered most of the ideas. But last question here, or last part, maybe you're gonna face it. If I ask you, for example, what is, or evaluate sine and cosine, okay, let's say sine and cosine of 3 pi over 2, I want here negative sign. First step, as we said before, we have to know in which quadrant we are. So this is my reference, sorry, this is my vertex, this is my initial side, rotate till this point, it's 200, sorry, it's 180, till this point, it's 270. طبعا here, simply, as we explained before, this one 3 times 180 divided by 2, so this one will be negative 270. That's why I've not, this one is negative 270. Okay, shall I evaluate or find out what is the reference angle? No. Why? Because this is one of the major axes. I mean 0, pi over 2, 180, 270. So here we are going to use the coordinate normally for 90, or you can use the old coordinate for the unit circle. What's the old coordinate for the unit circle? It's what? It was 0 and 1. Even if you use your finger, so you are going to find it for this 90. Okay, for cosine, how many fingers up? No. For sine, how many fingers down? Count. It's going to be radical 4 over 4, which is here positive. Sorry, radical 4 over 2, which is here positive 1. So what is sine? So I'm going to write here sine, negative 3 pi over 2, which is exactly like sine, negative 270 equals what here, as you can see, 1. And cosine, negative 3 pi over 2, which is exactly like cosine, negative 270, which is exactly equal 0. So if I ask you, for example, what is tan? It's going to be undefined. Tan, negative 3 pi over 2 equals here sine over cosine. I have here sine, negative 3 pi over 2 over cosine, negative 3 pi over 2, which is here 1 over 0, which is here undefined. Hopefully it's clear now. Thank you very much. If you have any question, leave it please in the comments, and I'm gonna come back to it to answer. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.